Most businesses are in the business of making money, not losing it. So it's a shock when a business loses every dollar that they earned. While every situation is different, this video will show you the different ways a company can go bankrupt. Some of them happened almost overnight, while others came from a string of bad decisions that ultimately led to their downfall. Before we begin, please subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more of our great videos. Hit the bell notification button below so you get notified when we release new content. Our videos are centered around topics like this one that are meant to inform but entertain at the same time. We hope you'll join us in future videos by subscribing. Be sure and check out our old content too. With that said, let's begin with number 10. Number 10. Enron. Enron was one of those companies that became synonymous with corporate greed and total corruption. The story of Enron happened quite a while back, so we'll try to refresh your memory how it all went to zero for them. By the year 2000, the company was one of the leading businesses in natural gas, electricity, and other services. Enron was worth a total of $70 billion before it all came crashing down on them. It turns out they were cooking the books or lying about their income on the balance statement. By late 2001, they had filed for bankruptcy. This terrible scandal shook the nation and affected many U.S. corporations, who now had to call into question corporate accounting practices in general. This led to the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This act would set new standards in place for public accounting firms, corporate boards of directors, and corporate management. Number 9. Blockbuster. You may have heard of Blockbuster Video back in the day. You know, the place where you would go to rent movies and video games and check them out with your rental card. It was the perfect place to go before having a date night at home. Usually, Blockbuster stores would charge you super high late fees. At its height, Blockbuster had 9,094 stores across the world, with 4,500 in the U.S. alone. It had over 84,300 employees worldwide, and at its peak in 2004, was bringing in $5.9 billion in revenue yearly. However, this would all drastically change in the years to come, as Blockbuster failed to evolve with the times. When Netflix and Redbox arrived at the party, Blockbuster began to lose its dominant grip on the home entertainment industry. By 2010, as Netflix was heating up with its streaming and DVD subscription service, Blockbuster was forced to file for bankruptcy. Dish Network would purchase Blockbuster at an auction in 2011. While they had plans to make Blockbuster a Netflix rival, it didn't end up working out for them. All but 2 stores would close in the U.S. Number 8. General Motors. If you've ever been on a road, chances are you've seen a GMC vehicle pass you by, or maybe you've been in one. Up until 2007, General Motors was considered the world's leading automaker for 77 years. By the end of 2007, GM would be worth $25 billion. However, with escalating debt and a full-on recession in 2008, the government would push them towards Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2009. With the help of government funding, though, GM would rise out of Chapter 11 reorganization. This may seem like a success story compared to the others on the list, but not every company gets the luxury that GM was afforded. GM is back to making vehicles, and things have been looking up for the automaker, but they aren't close to where they were at their peak. Number 7. Schwinn Bicycle Company. This was once one of the biggest bicycle makers in America. Schwinn gained massive popularity back in the 1960s with both kids and adults. They made stylish, affordable cruising bikes that people absolutely loved. But they went bankrupt twice. In 1990, there were more bicycle brands on the market for Schwinn to compete with. They made the mistake of importing parts from other countries to save money, but this hurt the quality. By 1993, their sales had plummeted and their brand recognition was failing, forcing them to declare bankruptcy. The company was purchased by an investment group shortly after that. Once again, in 2001, Schwinn Bicycle would file for bankruptcy. They would go on to be purchased again by Pacific Cycle. You can still purchase Schwinn bicycles on their website as they appear to be making a comeback. Number 6. Reader's Digest Association. You've probably come across a Reader's Digest magazine at some point in your life, whether it be at a doctor's office or on your mom's end table. They were about half the size of a traditional magazine, but packed a lot of pages into each one. The digest was first sold in 1922 and gained popularity with readers of the older generations. It became the best-selling consumer magazine in the United States. At its peak circulation, it had 17 million U.S. subscribers and reached 40 million people in over 70 countries. The problem with Reader's Digest is the material did not cater to the younger generations and keep up with their interests. In 2009, they were forced to file for bankruptcy and go out of business. Number 5. Kodak. Say cheese, please. One of the first photography companies, Kodak, has been around since the 1800s. With the digital age upon us, Kodak had problems innovating and keeping up with the times. Kodak made most of their profits through selling cameras and film and photo printing supplies. With online photos being more popular and smartphones already having stunning built-in cameras, the demand for cameras and print photos isn't there anymore. Once their products became mostly obsolete, they found themselves in $6.75 billion worth of debt. In late January 2012, Kodak stock dropped 35% and they had to file for bankruptcy. This goes to show how one minute you can be on top and the next you're out of business. While the company helped its customers capture many great Kodak moments, this certainly was not one for Kodak itself. Number 4. Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E. This is a gas and utility company that provided gas and electricity to almost 5 million people in California. In 2001, California suffered from a severe drought that reduced the amount of available hydroelectric power. PG&E had no choice at the time but to purchase extremely overpriced electricity from out of state. This led to huge losses for the company. In April 2001, they filed for bankruptcy. Because of this, California lost around $45 billion, and its residents had to pay high electricity costs to help reduce the debt. Number 3. Toys R Us. This is everyone's favorite toy store, and once one of the largest toy stores in the world. They were founded way back in 1948, and for about a decade were the go-to toy store. They are the company that made the toy buying experience so awesome for kids and adults alike. Toys R Us would open 800 U.S. stores and 1,800 international stores at its peak. Due to a variety of factors, including the rise of online shopping and massive debt, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy on September 17, 2017. The company was 5 years behind schedule on making a profit while piling up $5 billion in debt. By March 2018, they announced they would close all the US and UK Toys R Us stores after failing to find a buyer. Thanks for the fun memories, Toys R Us. Number 2. Washington Mutual. Washington Mutual was at one time a holding company. At their peak in 2007, Washington Mutual had over 43,000 employees, 2,200 branch offices, and $188.3 billion in deposits. Almost 60% of its business came from retail banking, while only 14% came from home loans. This was enough to destroy the entire business by 2008 and make them the largest failed bank ever in the United States history. Part of their downfall was expanding their branches too quickly and offering subprime mortgages to unqualified candidates. WAMU could not sell these mortgages. In September 2008, the FDIC took over Washington Mutual after $16 billion was withdrawn from the bank. The next day, they filed for bankruptcy. All their branches became Chase branches in 2009. Bondholders would take a big hit as they lost some $30 billion. Number 1. Lehman Brothers. They are our top pick for number 1. The Lehman Brothers are an extreme example of how a company can go bankrupt in the United States. They were founded all the way back in 1850, and over the years rose to be the 4th largest investment bank in America. Similar to Washington Mutual, the Lehman Brothers got involved in the subprime mortgage crisis in 2008. This had terrible consequences for them as they were burdened with a plethora of financial liabilities they hadn't foreseen. In September 2008, the Lehman Brothers declared bankruptcy. At this moment, the company owed $639 billion in total assets, but that was overshadowed by $750 billion in debt. It was the largest bankruptcy in American history and drastically hurt the already weakened financial markets during a sensitive time. What did you think of our top 10 list today? Were any of these companies you haven't heard of before? Which one shocked you the most? We hope this video sheds some light on how companies go bankrupt. Each company had their own reasons for their particular downfall. Whether it was a lack of innovation from Kodak or a series of bad business decisions from the Lehman Brothers, these companies were doomed. Please be on the lookout for future videos covering more trending topics. Thanks for watching.